All righty. Now we start getting to the part that made me offended on behalf of all professionals in the wrestling industry. The rest of the show from here was a quick dive into indie-rific heaven, Wonderland. They live to do this kind of shit. And the women's title, Falls Count Anywhere, no disqualification, lazy booking. Maria May and Toni Storm. And they have just, this angle is phony bunch of bullshit between these two girls has just captivated all of the AEW fans. They have been over the moon, as they would say, about Maria and Toni. So, of course, what do? They decide to let them have the lowest class. I mean, the Insane Clown Posse should have sponsored this. This was garbage on a scale of garbage matches that you don't normally see. It was at 1 minute in, Maria May pulled a taser out of a bouquet of flowers. But Luther grabbed it, fortunately. Yes, he's still around. Go ahead.
That was Harley Race's old move on dates.
Well, yes, that's right. Because especially if the father answered the door, he's got the flowers, he's got the taser, he's ready for it. Luther grabbed the taser. She kicked Luther in the nuts and drop kicked him. And he took a bump and went over a table, but it was on the stage. So when she was trying to run for the drop kick, she slipped and got it off anyway and landed on her fucking head. And then Toni Storm power bombed Maria May off the stage through a table in the first minute and a half and got a 2 count. And I wasn't going to watch this because I said, all right, this is going to be ridiculous or embarrassing or both. And then I realized I need to see which it is and how much of each. And it went off the charts. It set records. They did the long fight on the floor. Maria pile drove Toni Storm on the steel stairs, and then Toni got color, and she's a bloody mess. And they had 2 chairs and a logging chain in the ring. But then they stopped the match completely so that both of them could go out and get 2 buckets of broken glass that were underneath the ring and put them in the ring. And then sit there and watch each other in opposite corners of the ring, wrapping tape around their fists outside in so that the sticky part is out, so they can dip their fists in the broken glass and start having a fake boxing match where they duck each other's punches until, oh boy, Toni Storm hits Maria with one of them and she takes a bump and rolls out. And of course, the announcers say, well, Toni Storm hit her right in the mouth. So when the camera stays off of her for a year or two while she gets her color on the floor, then Maria rolls back in and she got hit in the mouth and it busted the top of her head open. And then Toni Storm dumped the buckets of glass all over the ring and raked a broken fucking bottleneck over Maria's head. But fortunately, Maria saved herself from further injury by breaking a bottle over Toni Storm's pussy. Have those words ever been spoken before, Brian?
Maybe.
Breaking a bottle over Toni Storm's pussy.
Maybe a cafe flesh. I'm not sure, but I've never heard those terms on a wrestling show. No.
So they're taking bumps in the glass. They're both covered in blood now. And it wasn't as exciting as I'm making it sound, but it was as distasteful and low rent and fake and phony looking. There was a pile driver on the chair. Toni Storm got the shoe that was sitting on a silver platter at ringside that Maria had beaten her with the high heel shoes. So she got the shoe and chased Maria back up to the stage. where she whipped her with the title belt, but Maria gave Toni a Death Valley driver on the stage and got a 2 count. And then there was a lot of milking and nothing happening. And then Toni Storm took off on Maria with the shoe, hitting her in the head, and then gave her a pile driver through a table on the stage. 1, 2, 3. And Jim Ross said, "Thank God it's over." And amen to that from Cornette.
Yeah, why'd they bring Jim Ross out for this match?
Because they wanted to embarrass him and have him have to endure that without saying, "This is the phoniest, most embarrassing bullshit that I've ever seen. A bunch of girls doing this bullshit. Nothing I've ever seen has ever made wrestling look faker or more low class than this. And everybody involved should be ashamed of themselves." Because that's what he was thinking, I'm sure. But thank God it's over sort of encapsulated that. It's embarrassing in a way. It's in a way, I can't feel bad for any of these people because they're willingly involved in it. I feel bad for some of the other people on the show that have to be on the same show as this kind of shit. But this is why that a lot of people don't watch wrestling anymore. It's fake. And wrestling used to be, they used to do bad taste and good taste. Now it's just fake and in bad taste. And it's silly and it's stupid. And anybody that, I mean, I can't believe there's as many people as this in Los Angeles, 11,000 of them that like this kind of thing. And there's 10 million people in Los Angeles. But goddamn. Even if you want to see women fighting in barbed wire and whatever the fuck and bleeding all over themselves, it's fucking fake and it's an insult to the wrestling business. And I repeat, if they can go through all this shit and they're not fucking in intensive care, then why do the guys have anything to worry about? And what angle can you possibly do to the human body to make anybody care about anything ever again? Tell me what you think, Brian.
This was a match that it seemed like it divided a lot of the people that watched the show, and I kind of had that myself. There were elements that I enjoyed for the wrong reasons, which may be a trend for me with some of the things on this show, because it was ridiculous. Like, I imagined I would sit here with friends if I asked anyone to come over for an AEW pay-per-view.
If you had any friends.
And laugh about what we were seeing. I wouldn't sit there really into a match. I'd be laughing about, you know, how ridiculous it was. Maybe I'm in the minority. I don't know. I don't like seeing the women bleed. And this was maybe the most amount of blood I've ever seen in a women's match. And Toni Storm is as white as they get, and her whole face was covered in blood.
Oh, she's translucent.
So, again, the spectacle of it, and I think a lot of this is the whole ironic wrestling fan, the people who like Orange Cassidy, the people that were getting behind the Outrunners, they, maybe more than anyone else, have gotten into the Toni Storm shtick. And Mariah May. Mariah May does a good job with everything they give her. But this was a spectacle that I didn't really like, but I got a kick out of it at parts. But I thought it was too much blood. For me, I don't want to see women's matches, you know, that hit the Muda scale. That doesn't do it for me.
And more offensive to me is your first point, in that in days gone by, depending on how the people watched the matches, whether it was having to go live or then television came into being and then pay-per-view, if people went live together or watched TV or pay-per-view or what the big show together, they watched the matches to get excited and to say, oh, shit, and to see their guy fucking win. Now it's a bunch of jack-offs sitting around watching it to laugh at it. And these idiots that are involved in the business now are willingly trying to cripple themselves to do something that they know their audience is getting together to laugh at. I mean, sure, people laughed at me when they thought someone had killed me because they wanted to see me dead. They went crazy over the fucking matches because we created an emotion in them where they desperately wanted to see their hero win and defeat us at all cost. And that was the emotional roller coaster they went on until finally they got what they came for. Yes, but nobody ever came just to fucking laugh at the silliness and the fakiness of it. And if they had, I think I would have been too embarrassed to be doing it. And we were legitimately doing everything we could not to really fucking paralyze each other. But these morons are doing almost everything they can to end up in intensive care for people to fucking laugh at the silliness of it all. I'm offended as a professional.